No, I don't work. Yeah. Alright guys, what is going on? Welcome back to another video. Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to DVDs, Nuts, and Popcorn. I am your host, the PWM, the Physical Media Mac. It's been a while, guys, since I made a video, but I'm back with a $1.25 Bush video. And also, most importantly in this video, you're going to want to stick around because this is I'm going to show off my Black Friday MDF off of it. Is it MDF? I always mix it up. Let me see. No, MVD. I went on the MD. By the way, shout out to Retro Tiburon. He told Ty Lord about this MVD Black Friday sale you could do over the internet. Ty Lord showed me a bunch of the movies that he purchased. I immediately got jealous, and I could not believe the deals he got. So I went on there and one-upped him. I think I bought most of the stuff he bought, and I bought some more stuff. I think I bought like 8 or 9 movies off of there. And it's going to be some of the better stuff I've showed off in my videos in quite some time. So I'm excited about showing you this video. I always preface the video by saying we're not going to go an hour this video. I only had 1 day off this week, so I'm really pressed for time. I need to go grocery shopping, so I'm going to force myself to make this close to a 30-minute video if I can. So let's get started. We'll see if I can make it with no AC for a while in the car. It's not super hot outside, but all right. So $1.25 Bush, Dollar Tree, for all my Dollar Tree dorks out there. I picked up these movies right here. It's actually been a while. I picked these up like a couple of weeks ago. So I've had a chance to watch 3 of the movies here. Let's go over them real quick. This looked interesting to me. I like the cover. And I do like Mario Van Peebles. He was in, obviously one of the greatest shark movies of all time. And yeah, I don't know much about this. I didn't take any notes on it. It's called Armed. I like this guy in movies. I've always liked his performances. Not sure what his name is. That could be William Feischner, if I remember correctly. Chief is I guess the Mario Van Peebles guy's nickname is Chief. He is a former U.S. Marshal, has fallen on hard times after he led a team of undercover agents on a raid that went horribly wrong. As Chief struggles to get his life back on track, former colleagues reappear and explain that all of the survivors from the unit are suffering the same symptoms he is, and that there may be a larger conspiracy at hand. That almost sounds like there's supernatural elements to it as well. I don't know. I'll be checking that out though. Armed. $1.25 Bush. Did not know what this was at first because it's all in Spanish, and I don't know, just didn't think to do the Google Translator. And but I actually rolled the dice on it, and actually I think this is actually a decent movie. If I can say actually one more time. This is Truth or Dare. Not sure when this came back. It's a little bit, or came out. It's a little hard to explain. And I was going to read the synopsis, but that's in Spanish as well, so that's not going to happen. Just in case you guys don't know, $1.25 Bush, you see these Spanish films, they're always in English, so you can pick them up. If you don't mind that being on your shelf, the Spanish name and the written the opposite direction and all that stuff, if that doesn't bother you, then you're good to go. But anyway, this group of, this girl right here, she's like the main chick, and her friends go off to Mexico before school or before they go. You know, I think they had just finished school and they're going off to live their lives, you know. And they're like, let's do one more trip. They all go to Mexico. During that trip, they meet this guy, or this girl meets the guy, the main chick in the movie. And he talks them into going into this, I don't know if it's like a abandoned cathedral or something like that. Anyway, the place is cursed, it turns out. And what he's trying to do is pass on this truth or dare, because in this movie, this truth or dare never ends. And apparently, him and his friends were in this truth or dare. All his friends are dead now. He's the last one in the game. So all he can do is pass this on to someone else so that he can survive or something of that nature. So he passes it all on to them, unbeknownst to them. And then this whole vicious cycle starts up again. And I think you can only answer truth so many times before you have to do dare. And then the dares become these dangerous dares where they end up dying accidentally, or they die, you know, just because it's such a dangerous task. So, and then whenever like someone asks the truth or dare, whenever it's almost like a demon is possessing them, and they get this like Joker smiley face. At first I was like, this looks ridiculous, but you get used to it. It's kind of funny. But I was kind of impressed by this. I did not think I would like this as much as I did. It's a pretty fun film, man. I would say check it out. Truth or Dare. Am I moving fast enough? I don't know. We'll have to see at the end of the video here. All right, so here's another movie. This has been at $1.25 Bush for a long time. I've seen it dozens of times. It's got all kinds of award, you know, nominations or wins and stuff, but, you know, some of these places I don't even know. It could be like a Kroger Awards or some, you know, not that there's a Kroger Awards, but you know what I mean. It could be just any place nominating them. I don't know what these places are. I'm not from this country. But anyway, this is an interesting film, man. I cannot believe, so let me look to make sure again I'm correct on this. I'm pretty sure. This says starring Lance Hendrickson. He probably is in this movie 3 minutes maximum. So this is definitely not starring Lance Hendrickson. At least I didn't put him on the cover. But he is so old in this film, I couldn't even tell it was him. I thought it was like a look-alike or some kind of impersonation, you know, someone that does impersonations, because he is like really, really old in this film. But yeah, it definitely is. It definitely is him. But anyway, Derailed is like a weird movie. So first of all, these people go on a train. They all meet, you know, they're separate. Like there's like a woman and a girl and all these different like couples and, you know, individuals. And they all end up sitting together on the train. And it's one of those murder mystery trains where a play is going on the train, which actually seems kind of cool. It's a real train. It's actually traveling through whatever part of the country they're at. And this play is going on, and it's a murder mystery. And they try to act like there's real murders going on and stuff. Well, it ends up getting hijacked, and for some reason someone's going to hijack, you know, a train with, I don't know. I didn't really get that part. But anyway, I think it's even people on the train, whatever. There's some people on the train acting like regular people, and they end up pulling out guns, and they end up killing somebody. And so anyway, it becomes a fight for the rest of the people on the train's life. And then the next thing you know, this happens and that happens, and the train gets derailed and falls down into, I don't even know. It falls down into, like, does it go in the water? Yeah, I think it goes in the water, and they have to swim out of there. Or, no, it lands like in like a, I don't know if it's a bayou or what the hell's going on, but they have to jump out of there and swim. And now all of a sudden it turns into a creature feature. There's literally like this swamp creature trying to kill everybody. And in this one part you see, you're like, holy shit, this is so bad. I can actually see a guy's face inside this giant monster face that has these sharp razor teeth. You can see him inside the costume. How bad can a movie get? But then later on it explains it's like part of this creature like forms with a human somehow. There's some kind of supernatural thing to it. I don't know. I'm gonna pass it on to somebody. It's not good enough for me to keep on the shelf, but it's kind of hilarious, parts of it. It says a woman boards a murder mystery train that you know, I'm gonna pass 30 if I keep doing shit like this. So that's it for that. Next up, took a chance on this. It says a badass action film, Mark Zara Mandrill. It's a magnet release. Somebody says on the back here, the martial arts sequences will drop your jaw. Antonio is made an orphan when his parents are brutally murdered. As years of vengeance build up and transforms into a relentless bounty hunter codenamed Mandrill, his sole mark is to find his parents' murderer and avenge their deaths. That's all I'm going to read on that. So I don't know. I thought I'd check it out. Looks kind of interesting. All right, the find of the week or the find of the month or 2 months or wherever the hell we're at actually is a really good film, man. I think you guys are going to love this movie if you take a chance on it like I did. And that's a very early Russell Crowe movie called Heaven's Burning. It's a 1997 film. It's got that really pretty glossy look to it. Nice artwork on it. That's what attracted me to it. And this is the last Australian film. In case you guys don't know, he's an Aussie. Now, I do have an affinity for Australian films. I do not know what is in the water in Australia, but these Australian release films, number one, they always look like they're really using real film. They look so beautiful. And I'm a big fan of Australian cinema. I really, really am. And what was I going to say? This is almost like an Aussie exploitation film blended with a Japanese exploitation film. You can see the Japanese girl on here, very pretty young lady. And the story on this is Russell Crowe's character plays a getaway car driver. But he's new on the job. A buddy of his got him onto this job, and there's this crime boss that apparently is from Afghanistan. They're Afghans, this crime family. It includes him and his 2 sons and, you know, a bunch of other renegades. But they end up robbing a bank, and he's the getaway car driver. And this Japanese girl is a runaway bride. Her and her husband, her fiance, are in Australia because of schooling and because of his new job or something of that nature. And she gets cold feet and runs away. Now, this Japanese guy is a very, he has a code, you know, and he's devastated by her running away, but he's like, you know, he's not accepting it. He will not accept it. And what ends up happening is she ends up being at that bank when they rob it. And then they take her, they kidnap her, I think because she sees one of them or something like that. Or they have to get away. I think the cops come or whatever. So they grab her, and then they take her somewhere. They get away. They're about to kill her because she saw one of their faces. And Russell Crowe sees what's going on, or his character, and he's a good guy. He's just trying to make some extra money. And he ends up having to kill one of the crime boss's sons to save her life. So now they're on the run. So bank robbery, the police are on the run, or the police have them on the run looking for them. Then you have the crime boss family is looking for them as well. And then later on, her husband or fiance ends up going crazy. He shaves off his head. He shaves off his hair, not his head, and buys a gun, and he goes looking for her. And he just turns into the Terminator. He's like killing everybody, looking for, investigating what's going on. He buys like a ninja. He's got on all black. So he's like this, almost like he turns into a villain character in the movie. So finally, the Afghanistan crime boss and his men catch up to Russell Crowe in a motel room. And man, dude, it gets good from there. He starts explaining how his life was in Afghanistan in the war, like he was like in the military at the age of 12 or whatever. He grew up in the military, and he was one of those guys who got information. He would torture people to get information, and he did it like for many, many years. He never wanted to leave the military because he enjoyed torturing and killing people. And he plays that role so badass. I can't remember what his name is, but he is a terrifying character. He's there with his son, his other son, the brother of the one that got killed. And they take Russell Crowe and hold his hands down to a desk and hammer in nails. So now both of his hands are nailed to the desk. It looks so brutal. And then he tells his son, go ahead and rip his eyeball out of his head. So he digs his effing hand into where his eye is, and his son can't do it. And the dad's like making fun of him, saying, you're a pussy, and I'll show you how to do it. And you just know he's going to do it. And he's about to rip Russell Crowe's eyeball out. And then like the girl busts through the door, and then all kinds of shit happens. I don't want to tell you too much more, but man, you believe that he's a real Afghani, and he's been through fucking hell and back, and he will torture the shit out of you. Very cool. This movie is beautiful. I think I said that already. And it reminds me of, it has elements of, it has great framing and great shots, you know. And I think it was like a first-time director. He's not really known for anything else. And it also reminds me of something Quentin Tarantino would have co-directed or produced. It's a really cool film. Not like most films you see. It's a little bit, it's a little weird at times, a little different. And not your typical A to Z film. It's got some twists and turns that you might not expect. And this is not one of those films that has a happy ending, man. It's a sad film. A wild and poetic fantasy is written on the back of it. I'd have to agree, man. All right, I talked too much about that. All right, let's get into the Goodwill pickups, and then we'll do all the MVD pickups. And one other Amazon. They're not all MVD, but I think I picked up most of them from MVD. All right, let me see. Let me make sure I'm not messing up here. Well, these two are definitely. So this is a really cool pickup, man. I saw this movie, I think about either last year or the year before. Battle Royale. Oh, shoot, I wrote the director down for this. I'm not going to be able to read it right now. I probably lost it. Something so... Yeah, what was it's going to bother me. No, I never wrote it down. Let me see if I can read it. Oh, I can read it. Director... So this is a... Battle Royale is a masterpiece directed by... Let me see... Fosuku Kenji. Hopefully I'm saying his name right. Now, this is named as Quentin Tarantino's, I think, favorite movie of the last 20 years. He's absolutely loves it. He said of any movie that he wanted to direct in the last 20 years, whenever he did that YouTube video, it was probably like 8 years ago or 10 years ago, this is the film that he named his #1 film in the past couple of decades. And basically it's a high school where all the high school students are put in this game where they have to try to kill each other, man. I'm not going to explain it too much because I've talked about it in the past, but definitely really cool. This is the special edition director's cut. I streamed it, so I don't know what release I watched. But this is a really cool DVD. Got the bonus disc on there. It's got a little booklet here. Little insert. Today I killed my best friend. And you talk about like real Australian films, how good they look. This is a real Japanese film. Film, not just movie, an actual film that looks like tape, like a film, like really just impressive. If you catch my drift. All right, I don't know where the box went to that, but anyway, it fell down somewhere. Oh, there it is. Now, I was always a fan of Richard Harris in, he gets the shit kicked out of him though. But I liked him in The Quick and the Dead with Gene Hackman and Sharon Stone, where he's the, I can't remember if he was Wild Bill or something like that. Well, I can't remember what his name was, but he was like this foreign guy who's riding on the train, heading into Gene Hackman's, town, and talking all kinds of shit. You know, he was this badass killer from, I can't remember if he was from Australia or what. But he's, I like him. I think he's a really good actor. And these are two old school, like, Western films. This almost looks like a David Bowie type, not David Bowie, David Bowie. David Bowie, does that make sense? I don't know what I'm saying. I know what I mean, like an old school. What's the guy with the Bowie knife? Is that David Bowie? David Bowie? I don't know what I'm talking about. Anyway, so yeah, these are two. It's a Double Trouble. Richard Harris, Double Trouble on Revenge's Trail. They're both revenge flicks. I don't know. I thought I'd check them out. I like Richard Harris. Yeah, right now. 21. We're never going to make it. There's no way. All right, let me see if I can blast through one of them. I'm going to blast through this one. All right, so I love Christopher Lambert. Everybody knows that. This is called Adrenaline, Fear the Rush. And basically, this kind of reminds me of COVID. This is this virus happens, right, in 2020, whatever it is, right? Just like COVID. But we're separated into two parts. This, wherever part of the country is, where a wall is built around all the people that have the sickness, and so the sick are divided. But there are some people that are on the sick side that work for the police, medical, you know, so you don't have to be sick to be on that side, but you're basically trapped on that side. So it's effed up for you, right? Kind of like you're the essential worker in the COVID situation, you know what I mean? Now, so Christopher Lambert is the essential worker. We'll just go ahead and say that. Now, Natasha Hendricks, she's a beautiful woman. She's also an essential worker and some kind of police officer, just like Christopher Lambert is. And anyway, they're on separate, they have separate partners or whatever. But yet in the beginning of the movie, you see some guys in the streets and they're like this little gang or whatever. One of them goes to piss somewhere, and all of a sudden this mutant, like half human, half mutant with these sharp teeth, looks like almost like the guy from Goonies, just rips him to shred. And he has this like really cool knife with the brass knuckles on it and like the rigid blade on it with the blade that goes like that. And he's just like cutting necks open and ripping people apart with it. And they kill him. So they kill him. The gang comes around the corner. He kills the whole entire gang. And then the police force are sent in. He kills the whole entire police force except for Natasha Hendricks' character. And she calls in on the radio after her partner is killed, or partners. And then all of a sudden, Christopher Lambert shows up with his squad to save her. and then they all join teams, and it becomes this mutant chase movie where they're chasing this killer mutant guy the whole entire film. I thought it was going to have different parts to it and it was going to take different angles and stuff, but literally that's what it is. They're tracking down this mutant because he has like a variation of the disease that if that variation gets out there, then it could, you know, cause the world to die, right? Because this guy's killing people left and right, you know? So I thought this was a nice transfer. It looks good, and it's funny. Christopher Lambert makes me laugh in it, man. He says some funny shit in it, and it's pretty cool. You find out that the mutant later on, the mutant is not just a mutant like he's human as well, because he picks up a gun. He's using a gun against them. So it's not like you're just going against a monster. You're going against someone that used to be human. So he's not afraid to pick up a gun or knows how to use a gun, knows how to use a vehicle, knows how to use whatever, you know. So it becomes this cat and mouse game between Christopher Lambert and Natasha Hendricks. Cool film. I spent too long on that. All right, I won't spend no time on this because I talked about this a million times. Rest in peace, Albert Pyun. This is one of my favorite movies of all time. I mean, Oliver Gruner is a cyborg cop. What more can I say? This is a badass film. It's got the guy, I'm going to forget his name, the guy from Cyborg, the evil villain guy. I can't think of his name. And this is too shiny to read. That's going to bother me, but I can't read it. Tim Thomerson's in this. This is Albert Pyun at his best right here. This and Cyborg. All right, that's enough of that. Oh, I got one more Goodwill pickup. This is a badass film, man. I think this is this is probably Lance Henderson's best bad guy role. He's an absolute badass biker gang guy in this movie. He's got long hair, and he just gives a shit about nobody, man. He will kill you for nothing at all. This is kind of a funny film because Bosworth is sent in to be an undercover biker to bust this gang. And it's almost like him joining, as good as he is as being a cop, Lance Henderson kills more people in this movie than you could ever imagine. It's almost like Bosworth joining this gang causes more issues. Like, they don't save shit. He, like, literally, at the end of this movie, they're going through and killing, like, a whole courthouse. Like, I've never seen so many murders go unchecked. It's so funny. But, yeah, man, Bosworth, I don't know, man. Like, this is the movie that I know Bosworth from. I don't like this cover, to be honest with you. I would prefer the other cover. I think this is the secondary cover that came out later on. But Bosworth's a badass in this, man. I kind of would like to see him in more films that actually had a budget, because this is like a big budget film right here. There's all kinds of explosions going on in it and gunfire. And yeah, man, if you like biker gang, crime action films, man, this is a really, really fun ride here. All right, moving on. I just always remember Bosworth. He was a badass in school. I think he went to Miami, if I remember correctly. I know he played for the Seattle, the Seattle Seahawks, and he was like a defensive lineman. He was just a badass. And Bo Jackson, like, literally, like, ended his career. He ran him over like he was a little bitch, but it happens, man. Bo Jackson was 1 in a million type of guy, man. I mean, simple and plain. So it's nothing embarrassing to get ran over by Bo Jackson, but he definitely got ran over by Bo Jackson. All right, I think everything else is going to be MVD. Yes, that is correct. All right, I watched most of these films, guys. Now, I'm going to start with a movie that I read terrible things about. This is probably my only misstep. Now, mostly all these movies come in slipcovers, and this has that washed out, faded look to it, because I guess that's how the VHS looked. Hopefully, the Blu-ray does not look that way. I can open it up real quick. But if you don't know, like, old school movie like Walking Tall, this is the guy who played in Walking Tall, the original Walking Tall. That's our boy Joe Don Baker. Not the bullshit rock Walking Tall, the real one. Okay, yeah, no, it has a better cover. So yeah, so kind of cool. They have the washed out VHS cover. But apparently this is like a famous riff tracks, if you know what riff tracks is, where they make fun of the movie on whatever that thing is. I think it's called riff tracks. They're like in the theater and they show the film and they make jokes the whole movie. But he's like a Texas sheriff that goes into, where the hell does he go into? Does he go into Mexico? I don't know. It's not supposed to be very good. I like the name. I love movies like Final Justice, Final Fate, Death Warrant. You know, just like movies with two names like that. And I thought it would be cool. Let me see. Is a deputy sheriff working in a small town in South Texas when Joseph Palermo and his brother Anthony, two mafia hitmen, attempt to cross the border into Mexico. Yeah, so Joe Don Baker goes into Mexico. And, yeah, kicks some ass, kills people, and it's supposed to be horrible. Don't know why I picked it up. Maybe it'll be so bad it's good. I'm not going to, I'll talk about it in the next video after I watch it. Again, it's one of the only ones I didn't watch. I didn't watch this one either, so I'll show this one off. And that's the only one. I've seen all the other ones. I don't know too much about this besides this is Double Dragon, the video game. Or this is, you know, obviously inspired by Double Dragon, the video game. But you know, there's a chance that I haven't seen this. I was thinking that I saw this. But you know what? I might have been mixing it up with Street Fighter. I don't think I've seen Double Dragon. It's got Robert Patrick, Mark Dacascos, Scott Wolf, Alyssa Milano, and Julia Nixon in it. I grew up playing Double Dragon, man, so, I mean, Double Dragon's my shit. I can't see anything on the back of this thing with this glossy plastic here. Alright. It's got special features for days on here. I'm not reading all that shit, guys. There's so much on there. I think this is a film from 1993. The print's too small to even read it. Okay, by the way, not all of them do this, which is kind of disappointing. But they got the alternative covers on them, which I like. Just like Vinegar Syndrome would do, MVD is doing as well, and I love that. Now, what's cool about these MVD releases, they always include a poster. Hearing people. So that's badass. You can get little frames and frame all of these. I'm going to take a wild guess. I'm going to absolutely love this movie. I guarantee you. I might have saw it when I was real young, but I haven't seen it. And if I have seen it, it hasn't been in a long, it's been forever. Let me just put it to you that way. All right, I didn't take any notes on this. Now, Blast is basically Die Hard in an Olympic village. Picture the Olympics going on, you know, Olympic Village, remove the high-rise building and replace it with the Olympic Village, and that's what you got here. Replace our boy Bruce Willis with our man here, who, by the way, I didn't realize this until Tyler had mentioned to me. This is actually, oh, why am I freezing up here? This is actually, let me pause this real quick. All right, guys, sorry about that. I remember now. So this is actually Johnny Cage, and I didn't recognize him somehow, but that's Johnny Cage. Now, I almost wish that this was in the Johnny Cage universe. It would have made the movie even better, but it's not. Now, I will say something. The guy who plays Johnny Cage, right, in the other movie, what is his name? Lyndon Ashby? I guess this is Lyndon Ashby. Lyndon Ashby's character looks really small in the movie, which bothered me. He did not look like a tough guy. And then he looked like a gimp as well because his leg, he was like limping the whole movie. He had like a bad leg. So it's very weird. But that being said, if I knew it was the same guy who played Johnny Cage, it would have definitely intensified the movie for me. And I'd have been like, okay, this is badass. Johnny Cage is fighting, kicking ass. But yeah, so he basically plays the Bruce Willis's character. And Andrew Divoff is in this as well. I don't know if you can see him right there. He plays a really good bad guy. I always love him when he plays a bad guy. Rutger Hauer plays this, guy who's great with terrorists. He's the guy who's sent in to negotiate or whatever, but he's handicapped now from injuries from something. So now he just works kind of remotely to handle situations. He informs people what they need to do and talks them through these terrorist situations. But, yeah, lots of good fight sequences in the movie. And it's a cool film, man. I like it, don't get me wrong, but it has the most ridiculous ending. It's like Rutger Hauer is playing this remote character the whole movie, and then for some reason, at the very end of the movie, here he comes rolling in with his wheelchair, wearing this stupid, like, pigtail Rastafarian dread cover thing. I don't know what the hell it is. It looks so stupid. And he's wheeling in, and the main terrorist character, he like does something to him and ends up in the pool, and it's the stupidest shit ever. Like they really kind of ruined the end of this movie for me. And then they do this explosion that looks like CGI green screen trash. And it's like, come on, man. Like, you're doing so good. Why are you going to end the movie with this trash? But it's bad enough to laugh at it and be like, okay, the movie's cool, a cool enough film that it's not it really doesn't ruin it, but it still is super cheesy and bad, that last part. But yeah, Blast, man. If you like Die Hard ripoffs, here's another one of them. By the way, Albert Pyun directed movie here, guys. Much respect to the master. All right, this is a movie that I saw literally like a month ago, and I love the cover art on this. I'm interested to see if there's some alternative cover art, because I think I saw Tyler pick this up on VHS, so I'll know what it looks like. But this is one of Rutger Hauer's cooler films. He's in a sci-fi movie. God, I love the creature in this movie, man. But we have Split. I was about to say Split Second. Yeah, Split Second. I don't know why I'm correcting myself. God, dog, look at the special features on this shit. Pause it if you want to read the special features. This is supposed to happen in the year 2008. I love films from like the 80s and 90s that think that 2008 is like so far away that's not going to happen right away, right? All right, yes, it does have the VHS. See, I love that about these MVDs, man. It's so freaking awesome. So, really badass. I actually like this artwork better than the old school one. But then we'll flip it around here. There you go. Probably have to read the synopsis on this. I don't feel like going over it. It's been a while since I've seen it. In the year 2008, the cops are better armed than before, but nothing has prepared them for this. Swift, sharp-clawed, and deadly. Something moves among them on the streets, in the alleyways, on the rooftops, tearing out human hearts and devouring them. Maverick cop Harley Stone, Rutger Hauer, a Blade Runner, lost his partner to the beast, and now it looks like his girlfriend Michelle, Kim Cattrall, a Big Trouble in Little China, is next on the killer's list. Even in the future, there aren't guns big enough to stop the creature's deadly force, but Stone has no choice. Teamed with his rookie detective Duncan, Alistair Duncan, the girl in the dragon tattoo, Stone must stalk the edge of his own sanity if he is to destroy the rampaging evil on the outside and beneath the very real demon within. It could be all over in a split second. Dude, let me tell you something, man. The creature in this movie, although you don't see him a lot, it's done very well. They show bits and pieces of him. It's filmed very cool, where you think that this is probably as badass as Alien, the original Alien creature, because they show just bits and pieces. They do it so well. They piece it together so well. And he looks really badass. You get some decent looks at him at the end, but it's really quick and really badass creature effects. I don't know who did the creature effects in this, but I wouldn't be surprised if he was part of Alien or part of all kinds of other badass films, man. Anyway, moving on. Oh, what's funny about this? Rutger Hauer's drug of choice in this movie is sugar. He's drinking like 30 cups of coffee a day with like 10 spoons of sugar, donuts, and like candy bars, and he just never goes to sleep. He's on a sugar high. And he's got this cop buddy of his after his partner dies, who's kind of a lame like a desk cop, right? And he gets him addicted to sugar as well. And he starts being like a really cool, he's like an English character, but he ends up being kind of a cool character. He's lame at first, but once he gets him addicted to sugar, he starts being a badass. I know it sounds weird, but it's fun. It's a really cool film. All right, listen. This movie is silly as hell, but I had to pick it up. Remember in this channel's history when we talked about nothing but horror films? Well, it's changed a lot, guys, but I brought some horror with me. Some Christmas horror, some snow horror, some Frosty the Snowman horror. Jack Frost, guys. This movie is silly as hell, but they play it so seriously. The cops and the FBI that comes to town to help them out with the situation. And basically the serial killer gets, he's on a truck being delivered to death row to get killed or whatever. And they run into this, this truck that has chemicals, and these chemicals are experimental chemicals. They end up getting on him, and he becomes a snowman that can melt and form into snowman again. It has a soul. It's very, very, very hilarious. But yeah, there's some hysterical kills in this movie. It's not the greatest movie in the world for sure. And I like my horror movies to be more horror than comedy. This one kind of toes the line a little bit too far into the comedy zone, but I still like it. It's a must-watch for the month of December for me, and it's a fun film. This is a great party film to watch with friends and get drunk at Christmas time. Pour out some eggnog, guys, and watch this film at Christmas time. I think you'll have a lot of fun with it. It's always an hour. I can't do it. I can't do 30 minutes. It won't be an hour, but it's definitely not 30 minutes. All right, let's get into these. All right, first off here, we have Showdown. Now, this is a 1993 film. This stars Billy Blanks, Ken Scott, and Patrick Kilpatrick. I always remember, he's been in a lot of stuff, but Patrick Kilpatrick was a Sandman in Death Warrant with Claude Van Damme, one of the best bad guys ever, right? Also, the beautiful Christian Taylor, who, by the way, was in The Craft, and also the Brady Bunch movie, real beautiful blonde. And guys, this is a complete ripoff of The Karate Kid. The only difference is Mr. Miyagi is replaced by Billy Blanks, whom is a former police officer turned janitor of the high school in the movie. And Ralph Macchio, Danielson's character, is played in here by Ken Scott. And Kilpatrick's character plays Martin Cove's character, right? The evil sensei. I can't remember his name in The Karate Kid. But yeah, it's Karate Kid through and through. They even reference it in the movie. So Ken Scott's the new kid in school. And I don't remember the name of the guy, but Kilpatrick's the evil sensei, and his main student, right? In his dojo, right? Is a real evil, like, good-looking kid who has the finest chick in school, and he's a bully. He's just beating up everybody. So he starts going after Ken Scott and beating him up, him and his gang, beating the shit out of him, just like in Karate Kid they did Ralph Macchio, right? And so Billy Blanks is the janitor of the school. He sees what's going on. He breaks it up, beats up the kids. And then Ken Scott begs Billy Blanks to teach him how to do, karate and stuff, and how to fight. So Billy Blanks is reluctant to do it at first, but he starts training him in the ways of Mr. Miyagi, right, would do. And it's funny because he's like having him mop bathrooms, to clean the gymnasium, clean toilets and stuff. And Ken Scott's character is like, oh, I get it. This is like Karate Kid. You're teaching me how to wax on, wax off, right? And Billy Blank's character is like, no, I'm just teaching you how to get in shape, motherfucker. This ain't no wax on, wax off. So, and I'm getting you to do some of my work. But after that, after he does all the cleaning stuff, he starts teaching them how to fight and stuff. There's some really good training sequences in there in the movie. And I really enjoyed this one, man. The Blu-ray transfer is really good on this. And it's a really fun film. I'm trying to remember. I've watched so many fighting movies recently. Let me see if this one has... It should have reversible. See, this is what bothers me. This is the only one that doesn't have reversible. So maybe that means there was never a new release, and this is the VHS release right here. I can only assume that. But yeah, there's nothing on the back of that one. So that's kind of bothersome. But yeah, this is a fun film, man. It culminates into Billy Blank's character ends up fighting Kilpatrick. Kilpatrick's a really good bad guy in this movie. He might even be better than Martin Cove's character in Karate Kid as far as his evil intentions and stuff. He's awesome. I like this film, man. I thought it was good. Even though it's a complete ripoff, it's fun. All right, trying to rush through here, guys. All right, another badass film right here, man. I really enjoyed this one. Angel Town. This is a 1990 film, and this is Oliver Gruner's first film. Oliver's character in this movie is a foreign exchange student from France and a former kickboxing champ. So he basically goes from France and moves it to Los Angeles, and he's going to school, or he's taking like this, yeah, he has to go to school to get like I think he's like he's leaving kickboxing. He wants like an engineering job. So he's going into engineering school. So it's like this big school, like kind of like a University of Houston, or in this case, like a UCLA or whatever. And so they're like, so the dean's telling him, where are you going to stay? And he's like, I'm just going to stay like the students. I'll stay off campus and stuff. And they tell him, they're like, okay, if you're going to do that, don't go past this street because it's real dangerous. So he's from France. He doesn't know. He's a badass kickboxer or whatever. He can't find any room and board anywhere around the school. So he ends up going into Mexican gang territory and getting a house with a Mexican family. It's a mother and a grandmother and then a son that he meets later on. Now, it turns out her husband, the house that he ends up renting a room at used to be like a neighborhood legend. Like, he would stand up to the street gangs and stuff, but he ended up getting murdered by the street gang. And there's really a good sequence that I thought was highly effective early on in the movie, where it turns out this guy, Angel, that the movie's named after, Angel Town, is the gang leader, a Mexican gang leader. And he's driving around in his car in the beginning of the movie where they're rolling the credits and stuff. And then you just show him like parked somewhere, and he's looking out at this open area at these guys are getting into a fight. And they got like pipes and bats and chains and stuff and knives. And they're fighting in this gang war, right? And then all of a sudden, I think it's like Mexicans and blacks, and all of a sudden this white crew comes in this truck, and they got the same thing. They got bats and knives and stuff, and they start getting into it. It's like three gangs going at it. So the Mexican gang leader's just watching what's going on, and one of the white dudes from the white gang goes back to the truck and pulls a Uzi out of the truck and starts shooting all the black members, kills like 4 or 5 of the black members. Everybody else runs. And then you see the Mexican gang leader, Angel, in the car. He just smiles, smirks. You're like, okay, what was that all about? And then they go on to tell the Oliver Gruner story and the moving, into the Los Angeles and everything. So he starts staying at this house. And then next thing you know, that gang is trying to get the son of the lady that he's staying at the house into the gang. They're trying to beat him into the gang, but he doesn't want to go into the gang because he's really a good kid. So now Oliver Gruner is in the middle of all this, and he has to mentor the kid and teach the kid how to fight. But the thing about the movie is that guy, it's not just fighting. And Oliver Gruner is like beating these gang members' ass the whole entire movie, right? But the one gang leader, Angel, goes out and buys a Uzi. And I guess it's the time in the streets where Uzis were not, like, when you had one, you were like the man, because automatic weapons were not something you would see in the streets. So he became super powerful having that Uzi gun. That's why he was like the crime boss or the gang leader. So you might as well call him the Uzi man in the movie, right? But it's so funny, like literally, like he's holding the Uzi only as to show a sign of his power. He hardly ever shoots the Uzi the whole movie. I think he shoots the Uzi at the end of the movie. You're like, what the? Like, he's literally like, he'll hit someone with the Uzi before he'll shoot it. It's like he's saving the bullets. Like, it's just a sign of respect or whatever. So it's really odd that he's the Uzi guy. He's not shooting it. He's usually just using the Uzi to point, hey, go there, go in the house, rape her, and beat up those guys. Go in the house. You know what I mean? Like, he's just directing people and stuff. He's not shooting the Uzi, so it's real hilarious, that part of it. But it culminates at the end of, there's like a ex-military guy in a wheelchair helping out that lives next door, and then there's like a sensei, Japanese sensei that Oliver Gruner knows from the kickboxing days, that's in Los Angeles, that has his own dojo, and so he's helping out, and so it's them against this Mexican gang and stuff. And really cool, man. Now, to me, Oliver Gruner is the closest thing to Claude Van Damme. I think he's very close to Van Damme. He's very Van Damme-ish in movies. And if you like Van Damme, you need to see all the Oliver Gruner movies. I'm telling you right now. But yeah, man, it's a cool flick. MVD, man, doing their thing. I'm a huge fan of MVD now. I guess I should be showing the posters. No artwork on that one. No alternative artwork. But they all have those posters, man. So badass. Yeah, it's going to be an hour. God damn, I can never not do an hour video. It's impossible. All right, let me do it right under an hour. All right, so next up we have a double feature here. Man, I love these movies too, man. I hit it out of the park with these MVDs. Besides probably that Final Justice movie or whatever the hell it's called. Everything else was fun, man. Blood Fight and Ironheart. And these are both movies starring Bolo Young. Now, okay, so Blood Fight was a 1989 film. It stars Bolo Young. Now, if you don't know Bolo Young, he was in Bloodsport. He was the main evil bad guy in Bloodsport that fought Van Damme. And he was also in Enter the Dragon. Like, when he came in, like, when Bolo came into my radar is when I watched Enter the Dragon for the first time with Bruce Lee. And all of a sudden, they're in that tournament on that island. And you see him, like, kill somebody. And then Bruce Lee has to fight him. And you're like, holy shit, this guy is going to tear Bruce Lee from limb to limb. I mean, he's just, like, his body, the way he's, like, built is just, like, it's very intimidating. And he's got those eyes, those Mike Tyson eyes where it's like, you know, you don't want to look him in the eye, man. He's a very intimidating guy. Hardly ever plays a good guy in a film because he just looks so badass evil, right? But, yeah, it stars Bolo Young and Yasuki Karata, if I'm saying that right. And this is basically a blood sport type of movie. It also reminds me of Rocky. It has some of the best training sequences throughout the film that I've seen before. Really enjoy them. And then just imagine, like, Daniel-san from Karate Kid, and like if he was all grown up and he was fighting in a tournament and got killed in that tournament, because that's what happens. The Yasaki character is a sensei, and the guy that he's mentoring, he puts him in this tournament, and Bolo Young kills him. So just imagine Mr. Miyagi from Karate Kid losing Daniel-san, and now he gets into the tournament to fight, to get revenge. That's exactly what this is. So, I thought it was a lot of fun, man. Really good film, man. I enjoyed it, man. It was a blast. All right, moving on, because I need to hurry up here. Ironheart. I might even liked Ironheart better. I mean, Ironheart, I'm going to say it right now. I think the movie is just as good as Lionheart. It is a badass flick. Again, stars Bolo Young, stars Richard Norton. He doesn't throw a punch or kick in this movie. He's a crime boss in this film. And then it stars a guy I didn't even know existed, Britton K. Lee, which, by the way, is now one of my personal favorite fighting action stars. I can't wait to see more of his filmography. Also has a girl that's really good in the movie, Carmen Krushka, if I'm saying that right. And so first off, this movie takes me back, dude, to the early 90s when I had a flat top fade. And back when we used to do the Cabbage Patch. I mean, dude, this is back in the time. The music in this movie, I'm telling you, is some of the best B music I've ever heard in a film. Like, this is the time when Bobby Brown did My Prerogative. Back when rap music was infused with hip hop music, and kind of like right after breakdancing or right in between breakdancing, where now there is one particular song. I don't know if I'm gonna be allowed to play it during this video, which really sucks, but this is up there now with one of my favorite songs in a B movie ever made, guys. And it's made by a group called U Crew. Crew is spelled with a K. You can look that up on YouTube. Now, it's called If You Were Mine is the name of the song. Unbelievably badass, guys. Now, Okay, so basically in this movie, they have something going on where Richard Norton is his crime boss, Bolo Young is his strong arm, right? And by the way, one of the best scenes in the movie is, at least for me, like Bolo Young is obviously kicking ass in this fucking movie, right? But Richard Norton's always on his those big ass brick phones and shit, making boss caller calls and shit, right? And this one scene, like he's on a boat and shit, and he's on that brick phone, and then all of a sudden here comes Bolo Young into the room. He's like preparing him a drink and serving Richard Norton a drink like a little bitch. And I'm thinking to myself, damn, Richard Norton is a total baller in this movie. But yeah, man, shit gets dark in this movie, man. Like, so it's gonna go over an hour. So Britton K. Lees is a cop, right? And Richard Norton has his I think Bolo Young actually kills his partner, right? So, and then Richard Norton, Britton K. Lee's character is investigating this club scene where Richard Norton is like, he'll like point out one of the most beautiful chicks is dancing there, and they got this whole setup where they'll take that chick out of there into a limo, and they'll kidnap her, and they sell her like in the sex trade or whatever. So that's what Britton K's character is investigating. So he gets all into that shit and finds out about it, infiltrates everything, and then at the end he's like, I don't give a, he's like, he don't give a fuck about the rules anymore. He finds out one of his partners now is crossed the lines and is working with Richard Norton's character. He practically kills his ass, says, I'm gonna come back and get your ass. And then next thing you know, he's going after Bolo Young, Richard Norton, and it turns fucking bloody, man. He pulls out like one of them samurai swords, like chopping heads off. This turns into a terrorizing film. I'm telling you right now, Ironheart is one of the baddest fucking action films. Excuse my French, man. I'm starting to cuss because I'm getting worked up here. All right, guys, that's about an hour. I am done. I can't do any more. I can't talk anymore. Unfortunately, another one of those non-backings, and I don't know. I feel like they could have doubled up, did some art for both of them. I don't know. So that's unfortunate, but it is what it is. All right, guys, thanks for watching the video. Thanks for checking everything out with me, and hopefully you guys enjoyed, man. I am going back on this website probably tonight, because this is what I've been looking for so many years. Again, shout out to Retro Tiburon and Ty Lord for letting me know about this. I do know about this because every once in a while you find one of these at Dollar. No, I'm sorry, not Dollar Tree. I was going to say Walmart, but those Walmarts are Vestrons, not MVDs. So thanks to those guys, because there is so many movies out there that never got DVD releases, never got Blu-ray treatments, and they're lost out there. Not only that, there's so many movies that are in other countries that never got U.S. releases that I want to see so badly, but I can't really watch in the comfort of my own home on my Xbox One or whatnot, because they just don't get that love. So thank you to MVD, and I'm hoping that in the near future a lot of those movies start getting some love, because obviously this is a good start with a lot of these movies that I'm seeing here. All right, guys, I'm the PWM, the Physical Media Mac. Good luck out there finding whatever physical media you're looking for, and I will see you guys in the next video.